Welcome, everyone. Good morning to those to those who are gathered here in the sanctuary on Rugby Road, and to all who are joining us online via Zoom. As we come together for worship, we begin with a musical prelude offered by John Mayhood. Thank you. Greetings and welcome to the UU Congregation of Charlottesville. My name is Mary Beth Wiley, and I'm pleased to be serving as your worship weaver this morning. This sanctuary was built over 70 years ago on land that was the home of the Monacan people and that was once cared for by the enslaved people from Africa. We honor all who dwelt here and all in our congregation whose lives led to this moment of our gathering as a community of memory and hope. I invite you now to take a moment to greet others who are with us in worship this morning. Those of you on Zoom can unmute and say hello to one another. And those of you in the building, you are welcome to greet your neighbors, especially those you may not know.
Good morning, everyone.
Hi.
Good morning.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Good to see you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Happy Sunday
Morning,
morning.
Gail. So nice to see your faces.
It is. It's fun to watch the congregation milling about, greeting each other. We can't mill about.
No, but we
love
can
that camera.
participate voyeuristically.
Yeah.
Actually.
It is good to be together. We welcome those who are new to our congregation and invite you to join us for fellowship in the social hall after the service. Feel free to use one of our red coffee mugs, which are for newcomers to our congregation. We continue to ask that everyone in the sanctuary and throughout the building keep your high quality N95 or KN95 mask in place, covering both your nose and your mouth. If you don't have a face mask with you, we have extras available. When you're in the social hall and the social hall only, you may remove your mask while actively eating or drinking. We ask those not actively eating or drinking to please keep your masks on. We see the continued wearing of face masks while indoors as an act of kindness that keeps everyone, especially those most at risk, as safe as possible while we continue to navigate life during the ongoing pandemic and flu season. Hand sanitizer is provided in pews, which we invite you to use as needed. In addition to seating in our sanctuary, there is seating in the social hall where you can watch a live stream of the service. Families with young children are most welcome in the sanctuary, but if you need a roomier space, the social hall can be a good option. Please do whatever you need to feel comfortable as we worship together. Many thanks to all the folks helping us here share worship both here and online. Our on-site greeters, ushers, and hospitality and logics team. And special thanks to our AV tech today, Sean Scally, sorry, and supporting the dual platform worship both online and here on Rugby Road. Our thanks to our Director of Music, Scott DeVoe, John Mayhood, Matt Hartung, and the choir for sharing their musical gifts. And I'm pleased to be leading this morning's worship with Reverend Tim. Now here to greet you from your Board of Trustees is Chris Little.
Good morning, everybody, and happy to be here on behalf of our Board of Trustees. My family and I have been a part of this community for about 3.5 years now. We came to, I guess, share our spiritual inquiry in a broader community and can confidently say that this has been a very enriching experience for us all. I've served on Reverend Linda's interim team and learned a lot about UU and about this UU community, and then had the honor to serve on the search committee that resulted in this gentleman sitting beside me here. And I also learned a lot about our community and the broader UU community, and feel very encouraged and optimistic about our future, and very privileged and honored to be on a board and working closely with the staff of this community. So happy to be here and happy that you all are here too. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. Here are several important announcements. Our congregation is partnering with Ebenezer Baptist Church to provide food and cleaning supplies to those in need. Today is the last day to donate, so please place all donations in the barrel outside of the Edgewood Lane entrance. A big thank you to all who attended and helped out with our members and friends class yesterday. We welcomed 8 new members and had a wonderful time together. Yeah. On Tuesday at 11:30, we will dedicate our new Monarch Butterfly Garden near the parking lot on Edgewood Lane. Please join us, Tuesday at 11:30. Beginning this week, we are hosting our guests from Pacham, and we will be providing meals during the week of Thanksgiving. Help is needed with cooking, serving, setup, and cleanup. Families are encouraged to participate. Information and sign-up links are in the weekly email newsletter. As part of the season of Thanksgiving, next Sunday, November 20th, please bring fresh fruits, vegetables, and holiday meal supplies to share with fellow congregants whose budgets are limited, especially during the holiday season. Also, next Sunday, we will be having a soup Sunday, followed by a leaf raking extravaganza. Please bring rakes, leaf blowers, tarps, and some willpower as we work together to gather up all the leaves on church property. UUs of all ages are welcome. There are a number of other holiday announcements, including a warm clothing drive for the Haven, and we encourage you to consult the Friday email newsletter or the signboard in the hallway for more details. And now let us center ourselves for worship.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome, welcome. It's good to be with you all today. There I think I'm there. There I am. So I want to begin with some words from my colleague Lindsay Bates. Let us open our minds to the challenge of reason and our hearts to the healing of love. Let us open our lives to the calling of conscience and our souls to the comfort of joy. Astonished by the miracle of life, grateful for the gifts of companionship, confident in the power of love and justice, let us worship this day together.
Chapman family, Carrie, Georgia, Ruth, and Talmadge, to light our chalice. Rachel, can you put the words of the unison chalice lighting up, please? We gather this hour as people of faith, with joys and sorrows, gifts and needs. We light this beacon of hope, sign of our quest for truth and meaning, in celebration of the life we share together. We light this chalice to celebrate Unitarian Universalism. This is the church of broken minds. This is the church of helping hands. This is the church of loving hearts.
Thank you, Chapman family. Am I on? Thank you, Chapman family. I'm still not hearing myself. Oh, a little bit. Okay, well, I'll just talk really loud. So anyway, I'm going to invite Scott to share a wonderful sing-along with us, and I'd like to invite the children to come down so you can have a front row seat, and if you could just maybe sit down here. Yeah, come on down. Maybe sit over on this side a little bit, so Scott has some space to move around. Yeah, come on down. We have a big crowd today. This is wonderful. Yeah, come on down.
I'm okay.
I know it's not.
There it is.
Okay, that's what I'm checking.
There it is. Oh yeah, and Matt too. Sorry, Matt. Welcome back, Matt.
Check, check,
There we
check.
go.
Boy, it's either really on or it's not. Okay, we've done this one before, but we haven't done it with percussion, which is really, that's sort of no excuse if you've got a percussionist not to do it this way. So let's try. Okay. So we're going to start this way. We're going to do this phrase. We got to hold everybody. We got to hold everybody up. We got to hold everybody. We got to hold everybody up. We got to hold everybody. We gotta hold everybody up. We gotta hold everybody. We gotta hold everybody up. We gotta hold everybody. We gotta hold everybody up. We gotta hold everybody. We gotta hold everybody up. We gotta hold everybody. We gotta hold everybody up. We got to hold everybody. We got to hold everybody up. We gotta hold everybody. We gotta hold everybody up. We gotta hold everybody. We gotta hold everybody up. We gotta hold everybody. We gotta hold everybody up. We gotta hold everybody. Gotta hold everybody up. Yeah, keep going. Everybody. We gotta hold everybody up. We gotta hold everybody. We gotta hold this party up. Hold everybody up, up, up. Hold everybody up, up, up. Hold everybody up, up, up. Hold everybody up. We gotta hold everybody. We gotta hold everybody up. We gotta hold everybody. We gotta hold everybody up. We gotta hold everybody. We gotta hold everybody up. We gotta hold everybody. We gotta hold everybody up. Hold everybody up, up, up. Hold everybody up, up, up. Hold everybody up, up, up. Hold everybody up. We gotta hold everybody. We gotta hold everybody up. We gotta hold everybody. We gotta hold everybody up. We gotta hold everybody. We gotta hold everybody up. We gotta hold everybody. We gotta hold everybody up. Hold everybody up, up, up. Hold everybody up, up, up. Hold everybody up, up, up. Hold everybody up. Good enough, baby. Good enough. Thank you so much.
All right. Wonderful. Thank you so much. Still feel like I'm microphone challenged, but anyway. So thank you so much. Thank you, kids, for coming up and helping to lead us in that wonderful, wonderful song. So now I'm going to invite us to sing our children out to their classes. Leave this friendly place. Thank you so much, Scott and Matt. You all hear me okay? All right. How about now? Woohoo! There we go. All right. As we enter our time of centering and sharing, I want to remind us that this past Friday was Veterans Day. I want to take a moment now to remember all who have served or are currently serving in the armed forces. We honor their courage, their commitment, their dedication, and their sacrifice. We are also mindful of the many sacrifices made by their families and loved ones. And as we remember and express our thanks for those who serve, may we also and always see their service and their sacrifice as a call to all of us to build a world of peace, a world in which nation will no longer lift up sword against nation, a world in which no one lives in fear of war, violence, hatred, or of the many ways that humankind continues to harm itself. Let us thank and show our gratitude to our veterans by building a world of peace, justice, and love. Amen. We are part of an interdependent web and a community that cares for one another. Part of how we embody this care is by making time to share the joys and sorrows we hold in our hearts. Yes, I will now light a candle for these as well as all the joys and sorrows that remain unspoken, but deep in our hearts.
Its love and support to what is closest to our hearts. Another way we show our care for one another is in sharing our financial gifts with our community and our congregation. Our monthly social action collection is being taken for our hospital meal packet program. We ask that you give generously this month to support our hospital meal packet program. Rachel, could you show us the social action slide for giving, please? Each week, we invite everyone to the spiritual practice of generosity by giving to the ministry of our congregation. Through your pledges and with the weekly Sunday morning offering, together, we build the future of our congregation and our larger community. This is our shared ministry. During the music which follows, you may choose to make your Sunday morning offering by using the text address or going to our website. Here in the sanctuary, you may bring cash or checks forward. During this musical prayer, you are invited to share not only financial gifts, but also invited to share the joys and sorrows in your hearts. Those on Zoom may put them in the chat box, and those of you at Rugby Road may come forward to place a stone in the water. The stone symbolizes what is in your heart, and the water represents the soothing embrace of our caring community, which is offered for your joys and sorrows. You may also leave us a note on the joy and sorrow paper provided here. Let us hold one another in a compassionate embrace. And let us dedicate all of the many gifts we share with one another by saying, "We accept your gifts with gratitude. May we use them wisely for the highest good." Our reading today is called At the Liberal Barber Shop, and it's by Robbie Walsh. I've heard of a beauty parlor where all the liberal customers made their appointments for Fridays, so they could talk about politics, religion, sex, and other topics without fear of hostile reactions. It reminded me of being young in the South in the early 1960s, when I had a recurring fantasy of the liberal barber shop. At Brooks Barber Shop in my hometown, when conversation moved beyond the local high school football and basketball teams, it tended to be about segregation and states' rights and the possibility of dropping the bomb on the Russians. There was never a dissenting voice. Waiting my turn, I would bury my nose in an old Saturday Evening Post, keep my mouth shut, and imagine what Brooks might do to my hair if he suspected that I favored school desegregation or nuclear disarmament. It wouldn't be like this at the liberal barber shop. It's not that the barber and his customers would have liberal views on everything. They would be liberal. They would express their disagreements about politics, religion, sex, etc., respectfully and treat each other with civility. Though they might believe passionately, they would speak with the understanding that they might be wrong. The customer would feel so safe at the liberal barbershop that he could speak freely about abortion, free trade, the Iraq War, or same-sex marriage, even as the keen edge of the straight razor moved across his sideburns. Maybe it's just a dream. People are people, and yet we are capable of overcoming our destructive impulses. We can build institutions that hold up respect and dignity, peace and reconciliation. Institutions that keep calling on us with all our brokenness to live up to those values. I think we can even build a world like that a little bit at a time.
Thank you, Mary Beth. Very well done. And Mary Beth, let me take this opportunity to welcome you as a brand new worship weaver. Yes. I also want to offer my very deep gratitude for 2 weavers who have completed their terms of service after graciously extending those terms while the new minister kind of got situated and figured out where he was. Those 2 weavers are Greg Townsend and Debbie Norton. I don't think Greg or Debbie are here today, but they have both done an exemplary job and have brought wonderful presence to our services. So I'm just so very grateful to them. I also wanted to mention what a wonderful time that we had yesterday at the Members and Friends class gathering. It was a wonderful time for new people to come together, and I'm so joyful that that we welcomed 8 new members yesterday. And it's just one of my favorite parts of Unitarian Universalism is welcoming new people and just seeing them find a spiritual home and to feel welcome and accepted for who they are. So it was a wonderful experience, and I want to thank all of my teammates on the membership team, and we had a great time yesterday. So, and a number of those new members are here today. I don't know. Well, I hope I won't embarrass you. Would you all raise your hands if you joined the church yesterday? Yeah. Great. So, the liberal barbershop. Oh my gosh, Robbie Walsh, I love that man so much. He passed away a few years ago. I think I've told you about Robbie before. He was my very first Unitarian Universalist minister, and the minister who just helped me to reimagine and to see what religion could be like in a way that I had never imagined or dreamed of before. And I have to say that walking into one of his Sunday morning services was very much like sitting in the liberal barber shop, and I never once felt the straight razor going against my throat. So thank you so much for being here today, and I'm excited to share a river or a rock with you today. And so I always like to begin by asking or making a statement that one oftentimes hears in Unitarian Universalism, and this is the statement. In Unitarian Universalism, you can believe whatever you want. Now, I'm curious, do a little survey here. How many here have either heard this statement before or perhaps said it themselves in trying to describe or explain Unitarian Universalism? How many of you heard this or said this before? Absolutely. Now, for those who offer this statement as a compliment to Unitarian Universalism, I think it's fair to say that our faith tradition is all about freedom. The freedom to seek, to explore, to question, and to believe what your heart and mind tell you is true. And that freedom at the heart of our faith is best exemplified by Unitarian Universalism's rejection of creeds and of any test of faith that one must accept in order to become a UU. Now, the flip side is for those who make the same statement to criticize Unitarian Universalism, I think it's fair to say that they view religions like ours as being too individualistic, too subjective. The absence of a creed that we UUs view as being a positive strength is in fact a glaring weakness, because human beings need to anchor their lives in an overarching truth about the meaning and purpose of existence. Now, at this point, I could easily launch into one of my favorite sermons, which is freedom good, creeds bad. But I want to do something a little different today. Rather than simply celebrating our commitment to religious freedom and our rejection of creeds and dogmas, I want to take some time this morning to explore with you, I guess what you might call sort of the philosophical, theological roots of our approach to religion, and especially our understanding of religious truth. Too often in Unitarian Universalism, I think we skip over this step, instead jumping right to, we don't like creeds or we can believe whatever we want, without ever taking the time to understand why. So let's begin with this whole question of religious truth. What exactly is it, and where does it come from? Is there one truth, many truths, or no truth at all? And why exactly do we Unitarian Universalists reject creeds? Is it because we simply don't agree with the specific content of existing creeds, or is it because there is something about creeds in general that just doesn't fit with our understanding of the nature and origins of truth? And as we consider these questions, I always like to begin with a story from the Jewish tradition, and more specifically from the great collection of law and commentary known as the Talmud. Now, I first encountered this story in a class I took in seminary on the history of the Jewish tradition and Judaism. And there's one thing I have to say that really stood out to me about the class and about Judaism as a whole, and it is the way that the Jewish tradition approaches truth and meaning. And that approach, I think, is really perfectly captured by this story. The story is fairly short. Basically, there is a legal dispute between two rival religious schools within Judaism, the house of Hillel and the house of Shammai. And this dispute and argument has been going on for a long time. And after arguing back and forth with no end in sight, finally the two sides agree that they have to kick the debate upstairs, meaning they just have to ask God to intervene and to decide who is right. God listens to the arguments of both sides and eventually decides that while both make arguments that are true, the house of Hillel prevails because it has made its arguments with humility and openness, and has listened to, learned from, and incorporated the truths contained in the arguments made by the other side. Now think for a minute about what the story is telling us about the nature of truth. Truth is not found in just one argument, or in just one belief, or on just one side. Rather, truth emerges in the interaction of different ideas and diverse perspectives. God rules on behalf of the house of Hillel because while the other side only listened to themselves and to their own ideas, the house of Hillel listened to and learned from the wisdom of the other. And as I came to learn in that class, this spirit of ongoing and continuous studying and questioning, argument and conversation is at the heart of the Jewish understanding of religious truth. While Judaism certainly affirms the sanctity and the sacredness of the Torah, the truth in the text only emerges out of the continuous exploration and interpretation of its meaning. That's why so much of the Jewish tradition is a vast and continuous dialogue among different voices and commentators, a dialogue that both reveals the truth as it is understood at a particular moment in time, and that is always laying the foundation for future generations to develop new truths and new ways of understanding the divine, the world, and humanity. And I think one of the best illustrations, and if you'll pardon me for doing a little bit of a teaching thing here, one of the best illustrations that's visual of this very Jewish approach to truth is the structure of the Talmud itself. Now, I want to ask Rachel now to put this image up on the screen. This is a page, I just found it in Google Images. This is a page from the Talmud, from the Babylonian Talmud. I hope you can see that there are, in this page, and this is not what an actual page looks like, but in terms of having different colors on it, but you can see that there are different shaded portions of the page. And in the upper center that Rachel has drawn a red box around is a pink shaded area of the text. This part of the page, this is the heart of what's going on this page. This is a single point of law made in what is known as the Mishnah, which is a central Jewish legal text that was written by the rabbis around the year 200 or so of the Common Era, meaning it's pretty old. But like the Torah, this point of Jewish law demands interpretation and interpretation and interpretation. The truth in the text is not simply found in the legal point or in the legal language, it is also found in the conversation about the text. So this page from the Talmud does not just contain a point of law, it also includes the conversation that has gone on for centuries about this particular point from various commentators. So each of these differently colored columns are the interpretations of this one point that's in the red box by different commentators. And I have to say, I find it so interesting that the Talmud feels that the interpretation is so important of the text that it becomes part of the text. It's not enough just to read the legal point. You need to become part of the conversation because the conversation itself reveals the truth of the text. And folks, I have to say that it is this understanding of an approach to religious truth that inspires the title of my sermon today, A River or a Rock. For those faith traditions rooted primarily in a single creed, doctrine, or belief, religious truth resembles a rock, solid, unmoving, pretty much unchanging. Truth is almost like a piece of property that one faith can claim and own to the exclusion of others. But for traditions like Judaism, and as I will argue in a few minutes, also Unitarian Universalism, religious truth resembles a river of continuous and ongoing revelation, interpretation, and conversation. A river that never stops moving and that is always creating deep and profound truths out of the interaction of countless ideas and voices. Religious truth, therefore, can never be fully or definitively found in just the words of one person, one sacred text, or even one religion, because truth is always emerging, always unfolding, always carrying us along a marvelous journey of discovery and exploration. And after Scott and the choir share what I know is going to be a wonderful anthem, I will tell you a little bit more about how this vision of truth works in Unitarian Universalism.
Is this on? Yes, great. We're going to be doing another song by Jason Sheldon. This is part of a series of things he has written for Unitarian choirs recently, just in the past few years. And this one features as its core the sound of the cajon doing what sounds like a heartbeat. At the core. It's called Still Rising.
Rising high.
Okay, that was beyond wonderful. Thank you so much. That was just great. Gosh, I'm so lucky to have such a great choir, musicians, cajon players. Wow, I'm just so gifted. Thank you so much. Wow. All right, back to business. So now, in the first part of my sermon this morning, I talked about these two approaches to religious truth: the rock, or what you might call the rock or the property model, which sees truth as being a single belief or set of beliefs that are eternal and unchanging and that belong exclusively to only one religion, or this kind of river or pluralistic model that sees religious truth as a moving and evolving reality that emerges out of the interaction among a wide variety of influences and ideas, experiences and stories, conversation and dialogue. And it is this understanding of religious truth that informs Unitarian Universalism. From our beginnings almost 500 years ago during the Protestant Reformation right up to the present day, Unitarian Universalism has been rooted in an understanding of truth that is open, continuous, pluralistic, and diverse. We see truth as living in and emerging out of all things and all people. Religious truth lives in sacred books like the Torah, the Quran, the Bhagavad Gita. Religious truth lives in the rhythms and regularities and processes of nature, in the universe. Religious truth lives in the words and deeds of prophetic and spiritual leaders like Gandhi and Martin Luther King, Mother Teresa. Religious truth lives in the creative imagination, in music, in the visual arts, in works of literature and poetry. And religious truth most certainly lives in all of you, in your experiences, your stories, your joys and your sorrows, your hopes and your dreams. There is no limit, no end, no boundary or barrier privileging one source of truth over another. In Unitarian Universalism, truth lives in and is revealed in everything. I don't know how many of you are familiar with what is sometimes called the living tradition of Unitarian Universalism. The living tradition is a list of 6 sources of religious and spiritual truth that we have lifted up as being especially important for Unitarian Universalism. And here is a verse, or here is that list. Now, of course, by the way, this list is also in your hymnal. Of course, this list of sources is not complete or exhaustive. No perfect or all-inclusive list exists or can ever be fully written in Unitarian Universalism. But what matters most is not how complete or exhaustive our list of sources is or can be. Rather, what matters most is that the river is always flowing, always moving, always revealing new sources, new ideas, and new truths. And it is this reality of truth as evolving and emerging out of the diversity of life itself that explains why we Unitarian Universalists do not have a single creed or dogma. Reality is simply too diverse, too mysterious, too complex, and too dynamic to be captured by one statement, by one belief, by one text, or even by one religion. Our problem with creeds isn't that they are wrong. A creed is, in fact, one more source of spiritual truth and wisdom. Our problem with creeds is that they are absolute and not reflective of the dynamism and diversity of creation. Think about it. With a creed, truth is final, and the conversation, to a great extent, is over. In Unitarian Universalism, truth is never final, and the conversation never ends. And that leads me back to that statement about Unitarian Universalism being a religion in which you can believe anything you want. I think our commitment to truth as an always unfolding and ever-flowing river, to truth as the living product of the interaction of an infinite number of sources and an unending conversation, has led some, including quite a few Unitarian Universalists, to conclude that, well, when it comes right down to it, Unitarian Universalism is so wide open, so inclusive, and so free that we really lack anything resembling shared truth. In Unitarian Universalism, when it comes to truth, it is basically every person for themselves. Well, I'm here to tell you that nothing could be further from, well, the truth. You see, in addition to sharing with the Jewish tradition an unending commitment to the search for truth, we also share with Judaism a belief in the existence and authority of a particular kind of religious truth. Truth that emerges not from a single creed, but rather from the agreements and promises and values that we hold and the promises that we make with one another. You see, in Judaism and in Unitarian Universalism, truth is covenantal rather than creedal. And when we say that Unitarian Universalism is a covenantal rather than a creedal faith, it simply means that we UUs journey together, guided not by a single creed written in the distant past, but instead by a set of agreements about what we believe and how we will journey together. That is essentially what a covenant is, a set of promises or agreements human beings make with one another. Of course, covenants, like all agreements, are subject to review and revision. Covenants change as new ideas, new needs, and new realities emerge. But even though they are subject to change, covenants, and especially religious covenants, are affirmations of deep and profound truths. Truths that can be just as meaningful and just as important as any creed. The truth that lives in our covenants defines and shapes who we are and how we live as Unitarian Universalists. Our covenants lift up and affirm beliefs and values that guide us as people of faith. Think for a moment about the most important covenant in Unitarian Universalism, the covenant that affirms our 7 UU principles. Here are those principles, and of course, Reverend Leah talked a good deal about our UU principles last Sunday. These 7 principles are a reflection of who we are as people of faith. They emerged out of a long and continuous dialogue and conversation among Unitarian Universalists about our most deeply held beliefs and convictions. The 7 principles are reviewed from time to time, and they can be changed. And as Reverend Leah discussed last week, there is a proposed 8th principle that is currently being discussed, and it has been adopted by over 200 Unitarian Universalist congregations. But while the content of these principles will undoubtedly change in the future, today they serve as an affirmation of our deepest truths and convictions, and as a stirring call to live our lives as a shared journey rooted in those things we believe and value most: love and freedom, compassion and justice for all people and for the planet. So the next time you find yourself having a conversation about religion or, what church you attend or congregation you belong to, I hope you'll share something of our approach to an understanding of religious truth. I know that summing up Unitarian Universalism in a sentence or two, the elevator speech, is never easy because we don't have a simple creed. But don't mistake our lack of a creed for an absence of truth or conviction. We have beliefs, we have convictions, we have deep and lasting truths. Of course, the truths we affirm today may someday change and are never carved in stone. But as people of faith, we find meaning and inspiration in the journey those principles challenge and inspire us to make. A journey that calls us to listen, to learn, and to grow, and that challenges us to build a world that is free and fair, not only for ourselves, but for the whole human family. Those are our truths, our principles, and our values. May they always bring us meaning and purpose, hope and joy this day and every day. Thank you so much for listening this morning, and appreciate you making this journey with me, and blessed be. So let's now rise in body or spirit, and let's join in singing hymn number 354, We Laugh, We Cry. This hymn is kind of long, so we're only going to do 2 verses, verses 1 and 4, so if you want to use the hymnal, it's the first verse and the last verse, but Rachel will also have the words on the screen, so please rise. Yes, indeed. Mary Beth, can you please extinguish the chalice? Friends, we receive fragments of holiness, glimpses of eternity, brief moments of insight. May we gather up for the precious gifts that they are, and, renewed by their grace, move boldly into the unknown. Friends, be well, take very good care of yourselves, of each other, and of this world. It is a world that feels broken a lot of the time, but I believe with all my heart that if communities like this journey together, learning, listening, growing, and loving, maybe we can bend that arc. Maybe we can turn that world a little bit more in the direction of love and justice for all. Amen, and go in peace.